Hey folks, how are we going? Now, a lot of you have purchased the Italian manual grafting tool, which has the bud grafting and the wood style, which is the sign wood, Amiga graft and the wedge graft, that is. And thank you for the support. I hope you're enjoying it, but you have been asking me the question. I've had a lot of emails about how to change the blades, which are interchangeable. Now, rather than me trying to explain it to each and one of you, I thought I'll do a quick video and demonstrate how it's done. Now, for those who haven't seen this before, this is the grafting tool. It comes with 3 different blades. Currently, I've got the square blade on, which is the bud grafting. It takes a notch out of the bud on the side of the branch. And we've also got a wedge style blade, this one here, and the Amiga shape, which is basically more curved at the bottom and slightly opened up in diameter. So these are the 2 blades that come with it, along with the budding one, and there's a different damper base plate which we have to change over. So currently we've got this square one on here, and when you do purchase it, it comes with the orange one on top, and I've obviously changed it. So I'm just going to demonstrate on how to change it, because it is a little bit tricky. And for those who haven't got one, please be patient. We are out of stock. We sold out too quick. We didn't have a lot of them, but we are getting some more in. It'll be a couple of weeks before they come back in stock. It's not available on pre-order yet, but the online team will organise that in the coming days. So just keep your eyes out for it. But for now, let me just show you how you take it apart. So we've got 3 screws, which holds a base plate, with your 3 nuts on the opposite side, and this plate as well. So that is a part of the whole connection. And on top here we have 2 other screws on the opposite side, which holds the blade in place between the framework and the actual blade, and the plate itself is the blade in there. So what we'll do is take off this part here, which is the base plate, because it slides up and down, first by unscrewing them. Now you may need to get a shifter to hold the nut in place while you try to unscrew it. Let me just take them all off. That's the last screw off. And now these 2 little here can be, if you're slightly closing the blade, you'll find they'll loosen up. They loosen up and it makes it easier for you to slide them out. Now be careful here, because at this point here, the plate will come off and the screws will fall out. And what you'll find inside are 2 sleeves. These sleeves here, they're like the separators basically. They sit in between and slide up and down. See there's a sleeve there. So I'm going to take the screw out, and then the sleeve will fall out in here. So remember, those 2 belong on the smaller ones. And now that plate is loose to come out, but before we take that out, we've got to take out the top plate as well. So now we've got to release this. Now the nuts on these screws are recessed inside, so that they may fall out or they may stay in place, depending on how tight it's been screwed. One's fallen out and the other one has stayed in place. There's the top plate. One screws out, the other one's there. Sorry, just dropped it. But see, one of the nuts come out, the other one's still in place. So don't try and take it out, don't need to. Just be cautious that it doesn't fall out in the process of replacing it. So we've taken all the screws apart, and now to take off the base plate, you just got to slide it out. See how it's wedged inside there? There's a little slit there, that's a cleat there. That slides into there with the holes which go through the cleat there. That's what the screw goes back in place, the big one. All right, so that's out, and our top cutting blade is out as well. So that's been removed, and now we're going to replace it with one of the other ones. Let's just do the Amiga one. That's the Amiga blade. Make sure you've got the cutting side facing down. There's only one way you can put it in anyway, because it's got little lugs there where you've got to drop it in place. That's in place. Now we get our other base plate, which is a lot smaller, and I can see the cutting on it that I've already done in the past. See the shape of that? So you can see the curved side is on that end there, which basically means it'll sit that way out, and that will go back in place there. Now to align that, we need to adjust it. See how we're doing that to get the screw back in place. But before we do that, let's put the top plate back in place like that. Keep that aside. Put the 2 screws in place, 1 and 2. This one's got the nut in place already. Making sure that all the holes line up with the lugs, just like that. Have a look at that. Have a look at that, it's complete. So that's our top plate and our Amiga cutting blade in place. Okay, now we work on the bottom half. Now it is a little bit tricky getting the bottom part back in place, because there are 3 screws involved and lugs and everything that goes with it. So we first put the 2 screws in place, put the first screw in place, the second screw in place like that, get our cutting blade in position, and let's see if we can maneuver. So that's the part where it's going to be a little bit tricky to hold that up while the cutting blade goes in, and we slide that into there. There we are. Okay, so we've got our cutting blade, our base plate in, our 3 screws, drop our spacers in, and now that all the screws are in place, because this unit doesn't have a plate attached to it like this one does, as you can see there, see where the holes go through, which sits over the top of the frame, you need to put the original plate back on. So this is how it comes in the packet. So what I've done here is basically put the original one back on from having the actual butting blade on. And now just put the nuts back on, and they only go on one way, so make sure you have a close look at them to make sure they install them the right way. And in this case here, you will need the shifter, and try to tighten it by hand as best you can. But these are lock nuts, so they will be difficult to screw. That's why we use a shifter to hold it in place. You don't have to go super tight. That's it. Now for these little ones. And that's how you install the grafting blades, folks. Now, when you purchase it, it comes with this blade on it already. And to install the butting blade that I just had on before, all you need to do is play this video backwards. But once we've done that, we need to make sure it works. There we are. Look at that. It slides beautifully. We've got 2 plates on either side. And when you change the blade over, this plate here is removed because the other base plate has got its own in place of that. And that's all you need to do. And now for the last part of the segment is testing it out. Line it up. There we are. There's the Amiga. A little bit skewed, but I rushed that. But if you've got one of these tools, folks, give it a go. You've got plenty of blades to play with and a lot of opportunities to graft lots of different fruit on your trees. Like I said, they're out of stock at the moment, purely demonstration on how to change the blades. When they do come back in stock, get yourself one, and I'm sure it'll be a great Father's Day gift for your loved one. From me, Vasily, Maresi.